Interviews with Jenna, and today we're diving into the inspiring journey of a productivity and accountability coach, empowering women in the corporate world to pursue a fulfilling life. Joining us today is Coach Lee, and today she'll tell us more about what inspired her to start her business, the lessons she's learned along the way, what sets her apart, and she's going to share some amazing wisdom with us. So whether you're a fellow entrepreneur or someone looking for inspiration, this conversation is for you. Let's get started. Coach Lee, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I am doing amazing. I am doing amazing. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm excited to be Friday. The interview happens to be on Friday, but I know that the show comes out on Thursday, so tomorrow will be Friday for you guys.
It's almost Friday, guys. Hang on. Just one more day. One more day.
What inspired you to start your coaching business, and what's the story behind its creation?
So my coaching business was started because of other people. And I know that's a bad way to probably for me to start this interview. Like other people made me do this. But in reality, people have been telling me for years, like, you're motivating, you're encouraging, you should be a coach, you should be a life coach. And I always was like, I don't have time because I'm a full-time criminal defense attorney. And so this coaching business is a passion of mine, but it's also a side project in the sense that full-time criminal defense attorney. And so I used to do like health coaching, like Beachbody, Insanity, P90X. And I was in the challenge groups for those, like motivating the ladies in the groups. And so I got into health coaching because of that, because she's like, you're motivating. You might as well sign up to be a health coach. At least you'll get a discount on the products. And if anybody wants to join, you can make some money that way. So I started doing that. And then even within those groups, a lot of the women were struggling with, I don't have time to work out. I want to meal prep. How do I get my family to eat what I'm eating? And so it was really more than health coaching at that point. It was, well, here's how you can fit meal prepping into your life. Here's how you can find some time to work out. Here's how you got young kids, here's how you can involve them in it. And so that's when the you're encouraging, you're motivating started outside of the health coaching. And then even with that, like showing up on social media, people being like, hey, how are you doing all these things? How are you working out? How are you meal prepping? How are you a full-time attorney? I see you're refereeing basketball. I see you do all these things, but I know you go to bed early. Like, how are you, quote unquote, doing it all? So again, you should be a coach. You should teach people how to do this. It's when I realized that people struggled with essentially time management, being productive and getting things done. But the pandemic was when I had the time to start it because the world shut down. And after like a week and a half into the pandemic, I was like, oh my gosh, I am so bored. There is so much time to do things because thankfully I didn't lose my job, but we were working from home. And so they were like, we don't need you logged in from 8 to 5. Log in, get your work done, and, do what you got to do in life. Like we're all going through this pandemic together. And for me, pretty much every day around 12, 1, 2 o'clock at the latest, I'm like, okay, I'm done with work for the day. What am I going to do for the next 6, 7 hours? 6 to 8 hours that I'm awake, like what is there to do? Like I'm reading the books, I'm watching TV, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm hanging out on Zoom with my friends. Like what else is there to do? And so those thoughts started coming back to me. And then it was like, well, you said you didn't have time. So I started looking into it. And eventually like I found a coaching program that I was like, okay, I think this is the one that I'm going to take. Made it halfway through the first video, which was all of 3 to 5 minutes long. And I was like, oh, now I see what others see in terms of why you should be a coach. And so that's really how I got started.
Yeah, no, I think I love the way that it organically started, right? It wasn't like something that you just like, something that you forced. It's something that's everyone was telling you, like, hey, you're really good at this. You're really amazing at this. You could probably do it.
Right. And then realizing that and acknowledging for myself that, oh, I didn't realize that people didn't know how to do this. So that, oh, there is an opportunity or there's a potential business or a way to help people in it. So yeah. So when I say I started it for other people, it's because they gave me the push. And sometimes you need those people in your corner to push you to see the things in yourself that you don't see in yourself.
And it's amazing that's what you do now.
Yes.
Um, what's been your proudest moment as a productivity coach?
Um, Honestly, starting the business, but I guess second to that would be writing a book, writing and publishing a book. Because didn't see that coming. Just like I didn't see this business coming, didn't see a book coming either. So the combination of starting the business and then seeing my growth as a person to even write a book and publish a book.
What is your book about? Is it on Amazon?
Yeah, it's Lee's Laws of Productivity. It's on Amazon. It's basically your hands-on, simplified approach to productivity because as a coach, I'm all about teaching you how to be productive and people overcomplicate productivity. So it's Lee's Laws of Productivity. It's three simple laws: look, examine, and execute. And people probably hear those words and are like, how are these three simple words going to change the game of productivity for me? Get the book, read the book. I break it down. But it's really about simplifying to show you how those three words, and the Lee comes from obviously Coach Lee, so criminal defense attorney. So Lee's Laws of Productivity, I put basically me into the book,
Right.
and walking through and showing like what I'm doing now, some of the things that I've changed in the past, how you can figure out how this applies to your life. So essentially, it's like working with me without working with me.
Right. Like it's a perfect first step, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Um, what's your favorite testimonial or success story that you could share with us? Because I know you work with the corporate w women in corporate, right?
Yeah. So I think the top success story, and I think what caused me to really like capitalize on like the corporate women side of it, because like when I first started coaching, you know how you evolve as a person and like your niche kind of evolves. Like when I started honing in on the corporate women, it was like people in corporate, women in corporate, we're working jobs, we're salaried. We have to get the work done, whether it's between 8 and 5 or you waking up at night, you're bringing work home, you're coming in on the weekends to get it done. And as an attorney, you often potentially have to go to different courthouses, so you're traveling in different counties. So I would say my favorite success story is I was working with an attorney. She owns her own firm, and she was always working late, bringing work home, always saying no to family vacations, like never really having time to enjoy her partner, not really working out, things like that. And so we worked together and we created a schedule. And for her, because the thing with productivity and changing it is that some people make an all or nothing approach. We made a schedule to where it allowed her to work late. It was like, okay, you can work late, 2 hours every day, but once you come home, you're not bringing work home, or here's the gap, here's an hour gap at home that you're able to work. Here's how you can not work on weekends, things like that. And she got her people involved. So like she got her secretary involved to let her know like this is it, this is when I'm working. She told her wife, like she told her partner, so she knew like I'm trying this, like let me see. Within a week, she was leaving when her secretary left. Like we built the schedule for her to work late and
Right.
get it done so she didn't have to do it on the weekend. But within under a week, she's walking out the door at 5 o'clock with the secretary, not bringing the work home, not working on the weekends. She started working out, going for walks, like more than just walking the dog, but like going to the gym, had a family vacation. And that was like the family vacation part happened like over the 6 weeks of us working together. And she was like, I didn't feel bad. I was in New York. Like there was like one or two things that I had to take care of. But I mean, the family vacation actually ended up being a death. So it was an unexpected family vacation. But her being able to take off, go to it, and not feel obligated to work, and just literally like transforming her schedule. And even when I see her now, sometimes I walk to the courthouse, she's like, girl, you changed my life. I'm still sticking to it. Like she got injured, so she stopped the workout part of it a little bit. But she's like, I'm still doing good with the schedule. Like I'm ready to get back to working out, but I'm waiting for the doctor to clear me. But just to like see how we created a schedule that was to let you get done the things that you needed to get done. If that included working late, we made it to where it could be a realistic opportunity for you. But to even be able to say, I actually don't need to work late. I got everything done during the day and I'm leaving.
That's amazing. That's amazing. S what's, for our audience who are more on the entrepreneurial end, but are probably in the same way. Like when I started my business, all I could think about was work.
Yeah.
You know, like, and social media is one way for me to get clients. So I was on social 24/7, and but now I started to build those boundaries. What would be like your top three tips for, for our audience who are kind of like me when I started?
So I would say like whether you're an entrepreneur, whether it's full-time entrepreneurship or like me, a side entrepreneur, we still have the same struggles. And sometimes when you're a full-time entrepreneur, you have a bigger struggle because you have so much time. You're like, where do I structure my day and how do I structure my day? Like I want to go to the grocery store, but I also want to lay on the couch and watch TV, but I also need to get on social media to get these clients. And so what's the saying that they say like you leave a 9 to 5 to go work 24/7 for
Mhm.
yourself? Like
Right.
that could be the reality. And oftentimes we create these businesses because we love it. So sometimes it doesn't feel like work and we just find ourselves doing it all the time. But think about the reason that you quite possibly left corporate because you were burnt out and because you were tired and you felt like you were always working and you never had downtime. yes, even if you love your business, you still need to give yourself those type of boundaries. And so I would say, I guess in terms of 3 tips would be like, number one, create a schedule for yourself. And again, with that schedule, there can be flexibility with it. You can have, there are going to be exceptions to every rule. Cause I know sometimes, like, even when I'm like scheduling like podcast interviews, even for us to do the call today, it was like, hey, I typically work from home on Fridays, or for example, this Friday I'm off. Like, is there a Friday that you have that we can do our interview so that I know that since it needs to be done during the daytime, like I can use my lunch break to record since I'll already be home and things like that. So, number one is create a schedule for yourself. And then after you have that schedule, communicate that to the people who need to know. If you have a team that works for you, VA, small team, big team, if you have a partner, like communicate that. And number three, like be flexible with it. So like give yourself grace. Understand that things are going to happen. There are going to be deadlines, and you're going to have to adjust, or you might have to make an exception. Like, okay, I really want to, work with this person or meet with this person. They only have availability outside of this time. I'm going to create this spot for them, like if it's a weekly thing, to where like this is their week. So this is my quote unquote late day, or I don't work on the weekends except when you create your asterisk rule that allows you to like break it. I think it was you that said it on Threads, like a boundary is a fence. You can have a boundary that's a fence or a wall. Is it something that you step over, or is it a hard pass? When you said that, I was like, poof, mind blown. I'm like, it changed the way, like I've talked about boundaries, but I swear I've used that example like 3 times in the week since you said that, just so you know. And I'm like, this girl said this, and it's like changed the way I look at it. And sometimes that's all you need, is someone to say something that gives you that light bulb moment that completely changes the way you look at your business, your life, your schedule. And you just have to figure out what it is that's going to work for you with it.
Right, right. And it's true, right? I think um I think boundaries are an expression of self-love, right? It's a way for us to tell the people. I like what you said, like so you set the schedule and then you communicate it. And I think for some of us who sometimes have a fluid, schedule, we forget to communicate it. And
Yeah.
I have a business partner, and I always tell her, check, because sometimes she would book meetings with me and someone else, and she would go, hey, are you available this time? I'm like, check the calendar. So she's finally like checking the calendar before because like those are the ways that I'm able to have a schedule. But sometimes I do need to keep on communicating with her that the schedule is happening. And that, sometimes when we partnered up, she would text me on the weekends. And I'm like, girl, I'm not on social on
Checked
weekends.
out. Off day.
May not be corporate, but hey, my kids have basketball, my kids have things. And so I'm out doing things.
Yeah. I
Oh,
love I love that calendar aspect. Like it's something that I use all the time, and sometimes I put things on my calendar. Like the other day, I was trying to schedule something. Like I met with a girl yesterday, and she's like batching out her podcast essentially. So like interviews are once a month, and so she doesn't want to pre-record them too far because then the information might not be relevant, and she wants to make sure you have the opportunity to promote. So essentially, we were scheduling for like November, December. And so I was looking at my calendar, and I'm like, my calendar says don't schedule pending off. I have no idea why I'm supposed to be off this day, but apparently I'm available to record because I'm going to be off of my job. For some reason, I told myself, future me, told myself that I'm taking off this day. So like I booked it, and then I realized what it was that I was taking off for. But like, it didn't cause a conflict. And so having that calendar, checking the calendar to know that, hey, what is this? Like, what do you have? When do you have it? Like, even with us scheduling this, like, I know that, like, I'm going to hang out with my family after that. I'm like, okay, well, check-in time is this time, so I can't leave before this time. So perfect. We're good to schedule at this time. This still gives me time to wind down, make sure everything's good to go, and go be with them and get done what I need to get done, to have that balance of I've worked, now I'm going to play.
right. Actually, my morning routine is in my calendar, and it's been my morning routine for however long, for so many years. And it's and the way that I set it up, so I'm using Google Calendar, and you know how there's Google Tasks that you could put in your calendar.
Uh-huh.
What I've figured out, and mentally this is for me, and I don't know how it works for you guys. When you put task in the Google Calendar, it doesn't do anything. It'll just keep on reminding you. And I'm like, that's not working for me. So now what I do is when I have tasks, I actually put it on the calendar and put a time. So now it has a container for when it gets done. And
I
I'm like,
like it.
oh, that works better for me
I
because now
like
there's
it.
time for it to do it, right? It's not just a random task.
Yeah, and then that also helps when you're like telling your business partner, check the calendar. She's like, "Hey, it says this. Like, is this a fence or is this a wall? Like,
Right.
is this something that you need to get done, or can I schedule it during this time? Because maybe the person is in a different time zone, and so their time zone is opposite."
Yeah, yeah. You have an event coming up at the end of March. Invite all of our people to your event.
Yes, speaking of morning routines, I'm hosting a masterclass called Master Your Mornings on Saturday, March 29th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As long as technology cooperates, there will be a replay so if you're not able to make it. But essentially, it's about pretty much what you're saying. How do I want to start my day? How do I want to set the intention for the day? Because you might not realize it, but how you start your day matters. Think about the times when you often have a bad day. You started your day, you overslept, you were rushing out the house, you forgot your lunch, you didn't bring the bill that you needed to drop off to pay, whatever it might be. The kids overslept, the kid peed on himself, like something happened, and you started your day frazzled. And I don't want to say it mess up your whole day because ultimately we got to take control of our day and take control of our mindset. But often how you start the day matters. When you start your day feeling behind, you're working to catch up all day long. And so essentially the point of the Master Your Mornings Masterclass is to help you to create a morning routine that works for you. And if I look at my morning routine on work days, so like Monday through Friday, my morning routine starts at 2:30 because that's what time I wake up. And I don't consider my morning routine done until basically 7, until I'm basically walking out the door to go to work. Because I get up, I do my morning routine. I have a block of time I come in to work on my business before work. I get my workout in, I shower, get dressed for work, and then I leave. And so to me, those 4.5 hours are my morning routine. No, I'm not telling you that your morning routine has to be that long, but essentially, what you do in the morning is your morning routine. Is it working for you? Is it serving you? Is it not? So with the Master Your Mornings Masterclass, we're essentially going to be helping you to look at what do you do in the morning? What do you want to do in the morning versus what you might actually be doing? And working to craft and create a morning routine that helps you set yourself up for the day. Because in setting yourself up for the day, you're setting yourself up for life, essentially. And so it's free.
Awesome.
Anybody can attend, anybody can join. Yeah.
Oh, it's free. So wow. I'm like, I thought it was a paid container. I mean,
No.
I read a statistic, and I'm gonna share it with you. I forgot the actual number, but it was Tim Ferriss's in podcast. He said, I want to say 95% of successful people have a solid morning routine. And that's when I started building mine, and mine, it's it's been something that I've been using for even before the pandemic, actually, because it's like you said, it's very, very important. So
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna have the link in the show notes, also how you can reach Coach Lee if you have questions, all those good things. Well, the link is in the show notes. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners today?
Start. Whatever it is you're thinking about you doing, start. Get it out of your head, get it on the paper, write it down, and create a game plan to go after it. Whatever it is you're looking to do, start the business, read a book, clean your room, get a morning routine. Like whatever it is, we have to get out of our heads. And the only way we get out of our heads is to get it on paper and work to create an action plan. So whatever it is you're thinking about doing, just start.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Coach Lee, for sharing your incredible story, your insights, your wisdom, and for being such an inspiration. I I am so grateful that you're on the show with me today. We had a really amazing vibe check conversation too, and every time we talk and threads, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Threads, for connecting us. Threads has been a vibe.
Right, right. I'm enjoying it too. All right, for our listeners who'd love to learn more, like I said, we'll have show note links for you guys, and then I'll share all the links and all the good things. Thank you again, Coach Lee, for being part of Muse Interviews, and to our listeners, if you want to be more productive, if you want to start building your morning routine, this is going to be fluid. It's going to evolve. And if you just want to start, definitely jump on this masterclass with Coach Lee at the end of the month. Q2 is a perfect
Exactly.
quarter to get started,
That's
right?
exactly why it was done then, because time just changed. We're about to go into a new quarter. What better time to take control of your mornings than now?
Amen. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
See ya.